Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of TOEFL ITP Insider. And in this episode, we're going to talk about noun, clause, connector, subjects. So what do we mean exactly by this? Now, in the previous episode, we talked about noun clauses. And we said that a clause is made of a subject and a verb. And when I say that this clause is a noun clause, it means that it has the same functions of a noun. So it can be used as a subject, it can be used as an object, and it can be used as an object of a preposition. Now in this episode, we're going to talk about noun, clause, connector, subjects. Now the question is, what is that? Now, as we explained last time in the previous episode, we said that a noun clause will contain a connector, and then it will have the subject and the verb. Now, in this episode, it's a bit different, because actually the connector is the subject. So we don't need a connector, subject, verb. No, all what we need is a connector, verb that has the same functions of a noun. Let's see some examples. And as you see here, we've got, I don't see what's so funny about him at all. If we analyze this sentence, we notice that we have I as a subject, don't see as a verb, and then look at this, the object, which is, what's so funny about him at all? When you look inside this, what do you see? You see what? What is a connector and a subject at the same time. And that's why it is followed directly by a verb, which is. So what is the connector and the subject? And we have is, that's the verb. Now let's see another example. Let's read it together. At the moment, I'm having a tough time caring about who will rule the 7 kingdoms. Okay, right. So we've got I as a subject, am having as a verb, a tough time, that's an object. And then we have caring about. About is a preposition. And we know that after a preposition, we usually have an object of a preposition. Now, what is the object of the preposition in this sentence? Let's look at it. It's who will rule the 7 kingdoms. Now, who is a connector, but not only a connector. It's a connector and subject at the same time. That's why it is followed directly by will rule, by a verb. Lovely. Now, let's see another example. Whoever is able to push the king off the top of the hill and takes his or her place first wins the game. Let's analyze it. Whoever, that's a connector and subject at the same time. And we've got actually 2 verbs. Is able to, that's the first verb. And the second one, okay, takes, and we've got and in the middle. So we've got whoever, that's a connector and a subject, followed by 2 verbs, and these 2 verbs are connected with and in the middle. Fine, but where is the main verb? Because this is the whole subject. Let me read it for you. Whoever is able to push the king off the top of the hill and takes his or her place first. That's the whole subject. Now the main verb is actually wins, and the object is the game. So as we saw, noun clauses can have a connector that is a subject at the same time. Let's see how this can be tested in a TOEFL ITP exam. Let's go. And we have an MCQ here. Now let's read it together. Happened in East Timor was horrendous. Happened in East Timor was horrendous. Okay, now, so we've got it, choice number one. And what do we say? It happened in East Timor was horrendous. Now that doesn't make sense if you say it happened. Because when you say it happened in East Timor, okay, I understand that this is a complete sentence, but what about was horrendous? Why do we have another verb without a connector? So that doesn't make sense. Because you cannot have happened and was, two verbs, in one sentence without a connector. Now let's think about B. Well, it's still the same thing. The massacre happened in East Timor. The massacre happened in East Timor. Now that's a complete sentence. The massacre happened. But what about wars? Again, we're still in the same problem. So I've got two verbs and no connectors. So that cannot be the answer. Now C, what happened? Oh, wait a minute. What is a connector and can be a subject at the same time? So that is the answer to the problem. But A is only a subject. B is only a subject, but C is a subject and a connector. That's why the answer is what happened in East Timor was horrendous. When we come to the last option, which is when is only a connector, but it can be a subject. So when you say when happened, where is the subject? So no, that's not a good answer. Now let's check the coming sentences and see whether they're correct or incorrect in the light of noun, clause, connector, subjects. Let's see. Whoever he can change public opinion can change the government. Now, let's analyze it. So obviously we've got a noun clause at the beginning. So, and the noun clause says, whoever, oh, okay, that's a connector and a subject. And then we have he. Wait a minute, he is another subject. What do I do with double subjects? That's a mistake. I can't have double subjects here because whoever is not only a connector, it's a connector and subject. So from the very beginning, that's a wrong sentence. And the answer is, whoever can change public opinion can change the government. Now let's move to another sentence. I don't know has access to the company's servers. I don't know has access to the company's servers. I don't know. Well, I is a subject, don't know is a verb. But wait a minute, has, that's another verb. How come that we have two verbs, has and know, without a connector? So again, that's a wrong sentence. And the answer is, I don't know who has access to the company's servers. Now, we have the solutions. I don't know who is a connector and a subject at the same time. Now let's move to the third sentence. There's lots of conjecture about what really going on in Morgan's CIO. One more time. There's lots of conjecture about what really going on in Morgan's CIO. Now, there's lots of conjecture about, well, I mean, that's correct. Now let's think of what's after the preposition, about. Oh, and we've got what? Oh, so it seems that we've got a noun clause as an object of a preposition. So, let's see. So we've got what? That's a connector and subject. Fair enough. Now, after the connector and subject, we're looking for a verb. Going on. That cannot be a verb. That's a present participle. And as we said in previous episodes, present participles cannot be subjects on their own. They need kind of a verb to be before them. And that's why this is incorrect, because the noun clause is missing a verb. Now, the correct answer is, there's lots of conjecture about what was really going on in Morgan's CIO. So, we came to the end of this episode of TOEFL ITP Insider, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, liking this video, comment on this video, and subscribing to the channel. This encourages me so much to continue. Thank you so much. Bye bye.